Hey, welcome back to another episode of Miss Crafts a Lot. Get your craft on, yo! And welcome to all you new subscribers. You're the best! Today we're going to work with polymer clay. Now there are different varieties of polymer clay, and the difference between them all is the time and the temperature in which they're baked at. Today I'm using Fimo. This is classic Fimo. And this is what it looks like when you take it out of the package. This bakes at 230 degrees for 30 minutes, based on like 1/4 inch thickness. So why don't we get started? Now I'm an extreme novice at this. This is actually my first time working with polymer clay. So if you have suggestions on how I can do this better, certainly leave a comment down below. This is what the polymer clay looks like when it comes out of the package. This black and white. And this is what it looks like when I've put the two colors together and twisted them and pinched them and folded them and then run it through a pasta machine. This is the result that I got when I rolled the two black and white pieces together and twisted them to make a marbled effect. And this is what I'll be making buttons out of. This is gonna be so cool. So let me show you how I came up with this. I'm going to put this aside. Now you have to get the clay conditioned, meaning it's kind of hard when it comes out of the package, and you pretty much just warm it up with your hands. So you start rolling it with your hands like this to get it in, kind of squeeze it a little bit to get it, to get soft. And you roll it. Now it'll expand as you roll it, so you can just squeeze down the ends to make it, to reduce it, to shorten the log, or in Britain they call it sausages. Now make sure that your surface is clean. This is a plastic picture frame cover, but usually you're supposed to use like glass or maybe a marble tile or even a ceramic tile because it won't stick. Get this shortened up a little bit. Roll it some more. Let's see. It already touched the black, but that's okay. When we get these combined, it's not going to matter. Now I'm going to do the same with black. Okay, this is almost done. Bring these two, and I'm going to put these together. They don't have to be exact same length. If they aren't, you can, and you really want them to, you can just roll it out a little more. Now, I'm not even following my own rule, but to keep the color will transfer to your hands. So you can always use vinyl gloves. You can get these in a box of 50 from your grocery store or something like that. Just plain old vinyl gloves. But since I've already started, I'll just keep going. So I'm going to line these up together, side by side, kind of squish them together a little bit. Take them off my work surface, and I'm going to twist them. Now how much you twist them is up to you. this is all pretty objective, subjective, objective. Kind of, so you won't end up with a big, huge, long snake. You just compress the ends in together. And it's important that while you're rolling this out, you're kind of pressing down a little bit firmly, but not too hard to squish it, because you want the polymer clay to adhere, the two different colors to adhere together. Now I'm going to fold this in half, opposite colors, just press it together and do it some more. And see where I have this seam here? Continuing to press down firmly as you roll it would remove that seam. And see, if you have a heavier work surface, it won't scoot on the table. Okay, I'm going to fold this one more time. I'm actually going to twist it first. Kind of has a zebra effect almost. Squish that. I'm going to do this one more time. And you'll notice as you're working with the clay, it gets softer and softer. If you don't like how soft it's getting, just, leave it out, to kind of dry a little bit, and then it'll firm up again. Compressing as I go to reduce it. Now this is getting the color, the white is not so white anymore because the colors are starting to blend and turn a little gray, but that's okay. Okay, I think I'm done mixing this by squishing the ends inward. This takes a little practice, a lot more than what I have now, but I've been kind of working with this all afternoon, so. Okay. It's starting to look like a Holstein cow now. Roll it out a little more. Okay. So I'm going to kind of compress it a little more, but not with my hands. I'm going to use this cool block. This is actually a stamp block that you can use with clear stamps that you could just totally like remove the stamp off of it, and this works really well for evenly compressing your canes. That's what they end up calling these, is a cane. pull it up carefully. There. Okay. So now I'm going to cut the ends off because they're, you know, uneven. And this is a knife. It's a polymer clay knife. It's very flexible, but very, very sharp. So kids out there, your mom has to watch you or do this for you. So I'm just going to take and just slice off just a little bit of the end. Put the scraps aside. You can always use this, reuse the scraps for another polymer clay project later. So don't throw away your scraps. Sometimes the log might get a little misshapen. That's okay. Let's put that aside. And gently and that's what it looks like. Even this side looks pretty cool. See where the two colors blended and made a gray. Now with this, I'm going to wrap this log with this piece of rolled out polymer clay and give it a nice finish on the outside. So I actually don't have to use the whole thing, so I'm just going to place this here and I'm going to cut around it. Actually, I think I'd rather use this side. Just line it up. Aside. Now don't worry if it doesn't, if it's cut uneven, that's okay. You're going to trim that off anyway. And I'm going to gently roll this around to where it'll wrap around my cane. Okay, I'm going to trim off the excess where the seam will meet. Oh, come on. There. Just gently press the wrap around your cane. Now I'm going to trim off more excess. some more so it's nice and stuck together. There, how cool is that? Now I'm going to slice these to make buttons. Just decorative buttons. They're not going to actually go on a shirt or anything, but with the crochet project or even you know, any kind of decorative project, these would be perfect for it. So I'm going to evenly, actually going to move this out of the way. Sometimes when you go to cut, it might compress your sometimes it'll compress your cane. That's okay. After you go to cut it, all you have to do is just reshape it a little bit. See, it's all odd. Now, of course, if you like odd shape, that's okay. Actually, I kind of like this shape. So I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to continue to cut these into nice round circles, and then I'll show you how to poke holes in them. See how cool that came out? This actually can get flattened a little bit, but so now to make the buttonholes, I have a nifty tool. This is a Polymer Clay tool set. Actually, it's not just for polymer clay, but it's certainly a really nifty tool set that you can get at your local craft store. And this one I'm going to use to make buttonholes with. Right in here. It's kind of a drill almost. Just do a little, and then you can make the hole as big as you want, and then make an identical one right next to it. So this will go in the oven at 230 degrees for about 30 minutes, and it'll be nice and hard when it's done. Of course, be careful when if you're using your oven in your kitchen. This might off gas a little bit, so make sure that you have a couple windows open, fan turned on, that sort of thing. Or you can use a dedicated toaster oven that'll get just as hot, and you can have it in your garage or obviously a well ventilated area, and you can bake your polymer clay in a toaster oven, which I got at Goodwill. 14 bucks. Yay. Actually, the craft stores also have a polymer clay oven, which is a toaster oven. So I'm going to put these in the oven at 230 degrees for about 30 minutes, and we'll see what they look like when they're done. All right, so I have baked these in the oven, the toaster oven, at 230 degrees for a half an hour, and this is how they turned out. Look at the pretties. Sorry. So when they're done, obviously you take them out of the oven and let them cool completely before you handle them, because if you handle them like hot magma, and you know, you might burn yourself. So for a finishing touch, you can actually polish these with fine grit sandpaper. Of course, the smaller the number on the sandpaper, the coarser the grit. So you want to move from the smaller number to the higher number, and it'll give you a nice high polish shine. These are going to go on to my handmade crochet items as an accent piece. Obviously, these are a little big for for a shirt button, but that'll be a nice design element for any of the pieces that you work on. Okay, so you're probably wondering how I managed to get the texture on these two buttons. Well, that's what they call a texture plate. Ooh, texture. So when you have it rolled out on your work surface, you place this on top and mash it down a little bit to make sure that the texture plate gives its impression, and then you gently peel it off, and then it leaves this nice texture on the face of your work surface. A different kind of texture is by using a kind of a rubber stamp situation here. It's like I showed you before. You can use these kinds of stamps. They're clear acrylic stamps that you can use on this little plate here. Okay, and then same as with the texture plate, you press it down into the clay and make your impression, and then you gently lift it off, and then it leaves that cute design. This one here, I not only used a stamp, but I also took my little poker here. I'm not sure what the name of this. Anybody know what the name of this is? Anyway, this tool pokes holes, so I just poked holes around the edge of the design to give it a funky effect. Now I've already demonstrated how to get this effect, but I added holes in the middle so I can make these buttons. They're odd shaped, yes, but they're just, you know, they're just a design element for any kind of, you know, clothing piece that you're working on. Maybe a hat. These two items, instead of making 2 holes for buttons, I just put 1 hole in it to make a jewelry pendant. These two I haven't baked yet, but these are going to be earrings. Oh! If you like this project, check out the materials list down below. And as always, if you like this project, leave a comment down below. Give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. As a matter of fact, we're almost at 500 subscribers. Thank you. Mwah, 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 mwah. Love ya.